Go, boy!
What is going on, folks? We're back with 3BG at the movies with CJ and DJ Sue, and today we are going to be coming to you talking about Across the Spiderverse, the second movie in the Into the Spiderverse trilogy. You know, this is the part one, so you know what you're getting into.
Oh yeah, we whip we're whipping electrified webs across multiverses. Let's go.
I'll say this. So far this year, as far as part one of movies go, this is definitely I would say a better cliffhanger than Fast 10.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
I really needed a night to think on that for a minute, because I know we praised Fast 10 for the insanity that it is, but I had to really take a step back and look at how that movie ended, and then look at how Spider-Verse ended. Yes, folks, it is part one. If you didn't know, it's part one. So
They said it in the what is it? They said it in all the articles and all the interviews. This is a two-parter film, and like you said, Chris, the way that this one ended was so much better than like other movies have done their cliffhanger endings. And
it's up there with Infinity War easily.
yeah, I mean, just the way that this one ended, you're like, God, do we really got to wait like another 5 years for the sequel?
Well, no, it's coming out March 2024, so we got 9 months from now.
Okay,
So we don't have that far to go. We don't have that far to go. That was my first worry at the end of this. It was like, how long we gotta wait? And then I was like, oh, March 2024. All right, cool. 9 months.
Because think about
it.
That's
fine.
That's fair. Because if you remember, Spider-Verse was 2018, and this sequel came out this year.
Well, COVID kept it because we were supposed to get that shit in late 2020, and then COVID happened, and then they delayed it and stuff. And people forget the marketing for it initially had it as a part one for so long, but because of the delays, I think a lot of people, because of just a lot of stuff that was coming out, whether it was from Marvel or regular movies and stuff, we had so much stuff happening in the world. A lot of people just forgot. Yeah, we just forgot it was a part one. And especially when they switched up the advertising and just said Across the Spider-Verse, no part one. So you didn't, unless you already were keeping up with it and knew it was part one, you probably just went into it like, oh, Across the Spider-Verse. All right, cool. We're going to get this. And then it's like, wait a minute, what? So at any rate, what did you think of the movie, sir?
Dude,
now that you let it marinate after a day or two,
even after even after like 2 days, no, this movie was awesome. Like it took me for a ride, and I was on like a roller coaster of emotions. Like, wow, like there was so much mind-blowing stuff. I mean, just from the animation alone, seeing movies like this and the utilization of different types of animation is just chef's kiss. I love this stuff. The story alone was excellent. The writing, the pacing, like, dude, this movie honestly didn't do anything that I can say I had a problem with.
Yeah, I think in this world of AI doing cartoons and stuff, I don't think, this is my daily reminder to dunk on AI stuff. I don't think an AI program could do this movie. It can't.
Give it a year.
Because it's just no. The reason why I say that, because the amount of artists that were on this movie and the unique art style of every character, whether it's Spider-Punk and his unique art style, Ben Reilly Spider-Man, who has the 90s, kind of vibe to him, even down to his demeanor.
Yeah.
The Tron Spider chick that I dubbed Tron Spider. Just all like, because it's taken from the first movie. All the spider people have their own unique sort of style to them, and it fits right within the spectrum of this movie, because this movie has a specific type of animation style around Miles's character, but then when he goes to other worlds, they have a very unique style to them. And I think that's great, especially when you get to Oscar Isaac's character, Miguel O'Hara, who plays Spider-Man 2099, like he has a unique visual style to him that's very unique to everybody else. And it's actually really great.
Yeah.
The whole basis of this movie is essentially Miles coming off of the last movie. He's, grown up, he's getting to a point to where he's, close to graduating and, figuring his life out and stuff. And his parents are, being parents, he's growing up and they're trying to see what he's up to and stuff. And he still kept the Spider-Man secret from them. So he's balancing those things and such. Meanwhile, we got a Gwen Stacy who is missing Miles Morales, and she's, off in her world and she's dealing with her stuff with her dad. And it all comes to a head with basically multiverse shenanigans, much like the first movie, via a character from the Spider-Man Rose Gallery, the Spot.
Yeah.
Who we end up finding out has a connection to Miles based on the events from the first movie. And I like how the movie gives you it kind of zigs and zags in another different direction. Like it gives you this idea of you're trying to figure out who's the villain and what's the story that's happening, and it throws you off in a good way because of all these different thread plots, which ties into why this is a part one. And I think for a lot of folks, you don't really a lot of people didn't catch on to it being a part one till it got to the third act, or at least if they caught on where the third act of this movie is, because that's something else this movie does good. You don't know where the third act starts at all, So it's like once you start like figuring out this is a part one, it's like, oh shit, well, it's too late. But you're already, and that's to the credit of the movie keeping you engaged. But
of course, if you're in the know, the only thing you're questioning is how do you end this part one?
Oh, that was me. I was like, where does this end? Because it was certain parts of this movie where I was like, and we're gonna end right here, huh?
Yeah. I think I called out 2 times where I was like, huh, all right, ending, roll of like credits, like something. Because there's a shot, and I think Chris, like, the typical Spider-Man ending setup, whipping through the city, wait for the mask to just jump at you in the face. You think that's where the credit's gonna roll, and no, that doesn't happen. We don't get the typical Sony Spider-Man movie ending, ending shots. Not this time.
Yeah, it's yeah. Oh yeah, correction.
I did like how they try to fake you out with that, but
oh yeah, correction. This movie was supposed to come out last year, October, not 2021. It was October 2022.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, damn, did they really have like the turnaround time was that quick for the sequel?
But let's be real, like it's animated films, and with the way businesses are, they're very kind of like about animated movies. So it was very touch and go if we were going to get a sequel to after Into the Spiderverse, despite how well it did, and stuff. So, going back to what you were saying, like the visual styles is very great. And when Miles visits these different worlds and you see all these different like the amount of Spider-Men in this movie is fucking insane. Throw a rock and you'll find the Spider-Man that that your favorite Spider-Man from whatever universe is in this movie.
I mean, let me tell you, sir, the cosplays that are going to come out of this movie.
I mean, it was already happening before this, but yeah, it's definitely going to be overtime.
No. When people go see this movie I would say the next 3 probably next 2 conventions, like in your town, wherever you are, you're going to see you're going to see people pull off cosplays from this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Especially from one character in particular. I know we're going to see like a good flood of those.
And it's like even down like the people that play the Spider-Man, like Shamik Moore and Haley Stanfield, they do a really good job as Miles and Gwen. They clearly got a connection, camaraderie coming off the first movie. I like Jake Johnson's Peter Parker, his Spider-Man. He's still the older Peter Parker, You know, he's in a different spot now. He's married to Mary Jane. If you watched the first movie, they got back together and stuff. So he's basically the laid back Spider-Man.
No, call him what it is. Spider Dad.
Spider Dad, yeah.
He's Spider Dad.
He's Spider Dad, you know, laid back, still the laid back guy for the first movie, but he's a dad now, which is great. You got Issa Rae is playing Spider Woman, which I love. She's great. She has a lot of she has a lot of lines in this movie that I thought was funny, especially her introduction. It's like hilarious. You got Pavitar Prakbar, who plays Spider-Man India. Love him. He's great.
Yeah, Spider-Man India was really he was probably my favorite character.
Daniel Kaluuya Spider-Punk is my fave, bar none, man.
He was definitely good. I'm like, damn it, between Spider-Punk and Indian Spider. Between the two of them, I'm like, you guys are really, really fighting for my favorite character of this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely there. But Oscar Isaac's fucking Spider-Man 2099, like as somebody that read that book back in the 90s, like that was like peak. That motherfucker, it's Oscar Isaac. That man can fucking act his ass off. You know, he can take a shitty role and make that shit great. I mean, we saw him as fucking Apocalypse, and hey, look, man, he acted the fuck out of that role despite how the quality of that movie. So you know what you're getting out of that, you know. But just like the sheer amount of animation on the Spider-Man that they show in this movie that don't really have much in the way of lines, it's just great that they just show them in all their glory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's definitely shots of certain Spider-Men from certain properties and shows and movies and stuff, and when they throw them in this, again, not spoiling it, but like when you see it, you're like, oh my god, they did it, you know. I saw you and what's his face, y'all were like fucking like losing it at some of them appearances, and I was like, yep,
I was geeking. not just at the characters, but all the little Easter eggs that dropped in this movie. I'm just pointing out stuff like they put that in there. They put that in there. This is dope. I'm like, I love it. Like I love movies, franchise movies like this, where they take lore and they put it into the movie, and you have to do like a little bit of field tripping and homework of spot it. Do you like when you see it, you see it. When you like, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I mean, you know, I sat back and thought about this for a minute. I just enjoy the fact that we are living these past 2 years. We have gotten different types of multiversal stories, and they all tie in together in some way, shape, or form. Like they all have their different ways. Like I said, we have this movie Across the Spider-Verse, which is doing a multiversal story from the perspective of Miles, Spider-Man character, and how his character has a connection to all these Spider-Men, right? You look at something like the Loki show, which is messing around with the whole thing of the timeline and, you know, King and, you know, Ant-Man and that whole thing, right? With the Kings and stuff, right? Then you look at something like Multiverse of Madness, which provides another different angle of the multiverse from the perspective of one person trying to figure out which world she can find her kids in. And we visit a couple of them, but like 2 of them in particular hold a lot of importance on the state of like the fate of the multiverse, which I thought was great. And I just, and even to the point of, and we'll end up doing a review of it, The Flash is providing one aspect of how one person's actions affects everything in the multiverse in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and even with Doctor Strange multiverse, you know, like we get a version of Doctor Strange, at least two or three different versions of Doctor Strange that connect to Marvel's What If.
Yeah, they all like it, and like I think that's that's why I had to stop myself, because I didn't want to compare, you know, what Across the Spider-Verse was doing to Doctor Strange, because I was like, well, hold on. All these movies dealing with multiverse are telling their own type of stories of the multiverse. They don't always have to be the same, because a lot of people wanted Multiverse of Madness to be like Across the Spider-Verse. I'm like, no, they were telling their story of what they wanted to do. Would it have been nice to see more of different worlds? Sure, but they were telling their story. This is this story, and we have
Yeah.
to kind of like take this story for what it is.
I mean, there was that one quick shot of Strange going through the multiverse, and you're seeing it was just one shot of him going through this universe, this universe, this universe, this cartoon universe. You know, he went through like 5 different universes before arriving at their destination universe. And I was like, you know what? As much as I would have loved to see them explore those other universes, I'm satisfied with this because there is an entire story that needs to be told right now.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's get this out of the way. Yeah. And, you know, and it's not like they couldn't go back. Well, not go back. It's not like Marvel can't make another movie dealing with the multiverse.
I mean, the Kang saga is pretty much the multiversal thing anyway, so they got time. Yeah. they got time, but
there are other movies. It might not necessarily be centered around one character, but there are other characters that can mess around with the multiverse.
The soundtrack for this movie coming in with that hot fire, just like the first movie.
Yes. Can I get that vinyl, please?
I mean, A$AP Rocky, you know, Lil Wayne, Sway Lee.
It was dope.
Coi Leray, 21 Savage, like, bruh, 2 Chainz back on another Marvel movie again. Just saying.
Again, dope soundtrack. I'm like,
this is
actually good.
Yeah, I mean, and past just the Spider-Man, I think another aspect that I think a lot of people are going to overlook is the dynamics between Miles dad Jefferson and his mom Rio and their relationship. Because whereas the first movie was definitely focused on Jefferson and Miles' relationship, especially with regards to Miles' uncle, Aaron, it felt like this movie decided to pivot to Miles' mom, Rio, and their relationship. Because I think Rio, in the first movie, she's there, but like in comparison to with the focus on, it was mainly on Jefferson. And I think in this movie, I like the fact that they pivoted towards Rio now and her relationship with Miles and her expectations and all that stuff. And I really felt that was a great pivot to turn because we finally got time with another character this time around. Just like in this movie, as much as it's about Miles, I like the fact that we see Gwen figuring things out herself and her place in all this.
Yep.
And I've definitely enjoyed that as well. So this is definitely a movie you folks are like. It's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find anything to be really wrong with this film because I think it's about as close to perfect as you're gonna get. I would probably say. I'm definitely giving it a 9 out of 10. It was really good. I think probably the only thing maybe people might be irked on is maybe the runtime, but even then, it feels like it goes at a really good pace.
A big story. You cannot do a big story like this in an hour and a half.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't. Or even at 2 hours, even 2 hours flat. No, I need you to take as much time as you need to take telling
this. This is a 2.5 hour movie, so it definitely makes sure it's 2.5 hours in.
It's a 2.5 hour movie that goes quick.
Yeah, I think what movie did we watch that we said that the pacing felt like it went really quick despite it being long? Because we just saw it too. It came out. Oh fuck.
No, Fast 10 was like that.
Yeah, Fast 10 was like that. Like it felt like it was one of those things where we saw the runtime and I'm like, okay, it's a pretty long movie, but everything was going at such a good pace, at a brisk but good pace that you're like, oh shit, we're already at the end. Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
2.5 hours went by that quick.
Because like when the ending happens in Fast 10, you're like, ah, shit, we're at the end, aren't we? God damn. Okay. Fuck. I did not expect that.
Didn't see that one coming.
Definitely. So, yeah, this is about as perfect as a movie you're gonna get. I mean, I don't want to say anything because then we're going to start spoiling shit, and I don't want to do that to anybody that hasn't seen this movie. So if you're listening to this, we don't spoil anything. It's just
go see the movie. Simple.
Go see the movie. Go see the movie. Simple as that. Go check it out. And yeah,
for the love of God, please experience this in IMAX.
Yeah. Well, and this isn't a spoiler. There is no post-credit scene, so just save yourself the time and effort.
Yeah.
That's not even
there. I mean, of course, there's a post-credit message.
Mid credits.
Sorry, mid-credit message. That's it.
Yeah, it's a mid-credit scene / message, and to me, that's good. That's great. So, but I will say this lastly, I'm also happy that this movie recognized the artists and the comic creatives of those Spider-Man characters that are in this movie. I thought that was actually pretty great to see in the credits of the film, because
without a doubt,
it's always admirable when you're like, hey, here are the people that created these characters from the comics that are in this movie. Hey, go seek them out. Maybe check out this stuff that they did for these characters, things like that. So
I think I remember the other movies where the pace of it went by quick. Besides Fast 10, Guardians 3 and Dungeons and Dragons.
That's what we said. It was Guardians 3. Guardians 3 was long, but it was like, oh shit, this went by pretty goddamn quick. Like, yep. All right, shit. All right, we're good. We are good. Yeah, I know I was missing the movie because I was like, I know we saw a movie and I mentioned how quick everything went.
Like very recently at that.
Yeah, so Oh, actually, no. John Wick 4.
John Wick 4.
That was John Wick 4 was the one I was like, yeah, it's long, but it felt like it went like.
I mean, some people might complain about the runtime of John Wick 4. They think, man, like, why is this movie so long for a John Wick movie? I'm like, shut up. Appreciate the action. Appreciate everything that's unfolding. I heard no complaints about the action, but suddenly when John Wick decides to walk instead of run, you want to complain about the runtime.
So I've watched John Wick 4 approximately 5 times now.
No complaints, no regrets.
Especially since it's out on HD digital, so I get to watch that fucking Paris madhouse of a fucking shooting sequence again and again and again in HD glory.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I need that steelbook. Give me that 4K steelbook pickup, please.
So, but anyways, yes, go check out Across the Spider-Verse. You will love it. And yeah. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.
Deuces.
That boy is Benny Hanna.